Sometimes the sky does not just give us rain or clouds. It drops things that should never fall. Frogs raining down in the middle of the street, worms covering entire roads, and even more disturbing, nameless creatures, glowing birds in the night, winged entities standing on rooftops, a red dragon gliding over a city, even a unicorn collapsing in front of a crowd. These are not legends. They were recorded at the right time, in the right moment, just before they disappeared.
In this video, join Mystery Files as we follow a trail of incidents that made witnesses afraid to look at the sky the same way again. Because the real question is not what they were, but why the sky chose to drop them precisely when humans were looking up.
There are moments when all you have to do is stand still and look at the sky to feel that something is wrong. What happened in Indonesia in 2024 is a perfect example. Right after a heavy rain, people in a rural area suddenly saw thick black masses descending from above onto rice fields. They did not fall straight down. They hovered, drifting slowly with the wind, like dense clumps of foam gathering in midair before finally settling on the ground. I watched this video several times, and my first feeling was not fear, but suffocation. Witnesses described the atmosphere as dark and oppressive, with many saying it felt like a scene from an apocalyptic movie. When some people approached out of curiosity, the smell forced them to step back immediately. It was sour and harsh, similar to chemical waste. Worse still, anyone who touched the black mass reported severe skin irritation and intense itching. Police and environmental authorities quickly sealed off the area. One theory suggested that industrial waste had been lifted by strong winds and fell back down after the rain. It sounds reasonable, but there is a problem. Meteorologists still cannot confirm what mechanism could keep such dense material suspended in the air and then release it all at once. And the question that bothers me most is this. If it was only waste, why did it appear exactly during heavy rain, exactly over rice fields, and in a way that looked like it was deliberately dropped from the sky? If you are driving in the rain and hear a loud thump on your windshield, your first instinct is to think of a rock or a branch. But in China, in June 2019, one driver looked down and saw something else entirely. A small octopus stuck right in front of him. And this was not an isolated case. After the clip went viral, many others reported finding small sea creatures on their cars, rooftops, and even scattered across roads after the rain. I still remember how it felt seeing those images. It was funny in a hard-to-believe way, but also unsettling. How could a marine animal end up in the middle of a city? This was not the first time the sky in China had played this trick. In 2018, another city experienced a fish rain, with fish covering streets and rooftops, causing brief chaos. Scientists often explain these events using waterspouts, which can suck animals from rivers, lakes, or shallow coastal waters, lift them high into the air, and drop them elsewhere when the vortex collapses.
Scientifically, that makes sense. But there is one detail I cannot ignore. Why do some of these animals fall still alive and nearly intact? And why do they land right in densely populated urban areas? If this is just weather, then nature clearly has a way of messing with humans that rivals any movie.
And not all animal rain comes from the sea. In Liaoning Province, China, right after the rain stopped, people stepped outside and froze in place. Thousands of worms were scattered across sidewalks, clinging to cars, stretched out as if someone had poured them down from above. What made this different from normal worms surfacing after rain was the sheer number and their distribution. They were not concentrated near wet soil or drains. They were spread evenly across hard surfaces, including places worms could not possibly crawl to in such a short time. I remember reading a comment from a local resident who said, "If they crawled up, they had to come from somewhere. But this looks like they fell." Meteorologists once again suggested waterspouts. According to this theory, powerful vortices can lift small creatures from wet ground or ponds, carry them dozens of miles, and drop them when the airflow weakens. Scientifically, it is possible.
But what unsettles people is the sense of losing control. You do not see the vortex. You do not hear a roar. You simply step outside after the rain and find the ground covered in living creatures, as if the sky just decided to return something that never belonged there. And maybe that feeling is what makes stories like this linger in the mind. Next is a similar case, but one that is extremely difficult to explain.
On the afternoon of November 8, 2025, the Playas de Tijuana area in Mexico was hit by a scene many people had only heard about in the Bible or ancient legends. On a busy coastal road, thousands of small frogs suddenly appeared, covering the asphalt, car roofs, and sidewalks. The video was recorded by Thomas Cavan, who was standing outside his home when it happened. At first, he thought it was rocks or mud, but as the camera moved closer, the truth became clear. These were live frogs, jumping, crawling, sliding across the wet road. Traffic slowed to avoid crushing them. People stood along the roadside, filming in shock, unsure where they had come from. What made the incident stranger was the lack of heavy rain, flooding, or overflowing rivers. The frogs appeared almost simultaneously, spread evenly across the street, as if they had just been dropped from above. Some witnesses said they heard light tapping sounds before noticing the road moving.
Meteorologists later suggested a rare but familiar explanation. A small waterspout or localized vortex lifted frogs from nearby ponds and released them when it lost strength. Similar events have been recorded throughout history involving fish, frogs, and even small birds.
At first glance, this video convinced many people that it was yet another unexplained animal rain. In front of a store in a high-rise residential area, an alligator suddenly fell straight onto the sidewalk, sending pedestrians into panic and lighting up social media with the phrase, "Alligator falling from the sky." The incident occurred in late May 2023. Security footage captured the moment the alligator dropped from above, slammed into the ground, and lay motionless for a few seconds. There was no rain, no flooding, no natural disaster. This led many to believe something unnatural had occurred. However, an investigation revealed an explanation that shocked people in a very different way. A resident living on a higher floor had been illegally keeping an alligator in a water tank inside their apartment. The animal reportedly escaped, crawled onto a balcony or window area, and fell straight down.
What is chilling is that if it had fallen just a few feet to the side, it could have landed on someone. Authorities quickly confiscated the animal, and the owner faced investigation for illegally keeping a dangerous animal. But for those who witnessed it, the feeling was unreal. Walking down the street, and a predator drops from the sky.
In early January, a video spread rapidly across TikTok and Facebook, showing a white creature with a long, twisted horn and large wings lying motionless on the ground, surrounded by a silent crowd. The Spanish caption shocked viewers. A unicorn found collapsed in a city in Merida. The incident was said to have occurred in Merida, Mexico. The The video was recorded by a personal account named Noesfaki, standing in an open area where locals had gathered. In the frame, the unicorn lay on its side, eyes closed, horn pressed into the ground, white wings folded behind it, looking exactly like something from a fairy tale. At first, no one dared to touch it. Some people leaned in to check. One placed a hand on its body to see if it was alive. The silence was uncomfortable. No screaming, no chaos. Just collective confusion in front of something that should not exist. A few hours later, the truth emerged. It was not a unicorn, not a mutant, and not a natural phenomenon. It was a real white horse fitted with a fake horn and artificial wings for performances or photo sessions. The horse had collapsed from exhaustion and dehydration, leading onlookers to believe they were witnessing a fallen unicorn.
The animal was treated by authorities and veterinarians. The owner was heavily criticized for animal abuse.
Americans know Florida is used to hurricanes, alligators, and all kinds of strange wildlife. But on a January morning in 2020, even locals froze in place. They heard loud thuds coming from above. Not rain, not breaking branches. When they stepped outside, dozens of iguanas lay motionless on sidewalks and streets, as if they had fallen straight from the sky. I clearly remember watching those clips. Iguanas scattered everywhere, completely still, like they had all been switched off at once. Experts quickly explained that a sudden cold snap caused the cold-blooded iguanas to lose muscle control and fall from trees. It makes sense. But if you were there, hearing heavy impacts from above and seeing animals drop right in front of you, it would not feel like a simple weather explanation. What haunted people was not the cause, but the moment the sky suddenly released living creatures onto busy streets. And it is a scene no one wants to witness twice. Some mysteries appear by accident, literally slipping into frame when no one is looking for them. In 2016 in India, two brothers were taking souvenir photos near the Qutub Minar complex when their camera captured something strange in the distant sky. Reviewing the footage, they noticed a humanoid-shaped entity hovering in mid-air. What set this apart was what happened next. Seconds after appearing, the entity suddenly shot off at extreme speed, almost tearing through the sky, and vanished into the clouds. No visible wings, no flying device, just a humanoid shape, and then nothing.
I noticed that after this incident, tourism to Qutub Minar spiked. Everyone hoped to see something similar. Ironically, it never appeared again. No new footage, no new witnesses, no official explanation.
Not every aerial creature has a clear shape. In 2015 in Tbilisi, Georgia, a witness reported seeing a jet-black form hovering in the sky, trailing long tentacle-like appendages that swayed and curled as if swimming through air. What puzzled experts was not its color or size, but how it moved. It did not fly like a bird. It did not drift like a balloon. Its motion resembled a sea creature, but it was happening in the sky. I replayed this footage multiple times, and the more I watched, the harder it was to link it to any known phenomenon. Because the video was recorded from far away, no clear body structure could be identified. No wings, no engine, just a dark shape moving with unnatural fluidity. The case was classified as unexplained, and to this day, no theory has convincingly closed it.
And perhaps the most unsettling thought is this. If there are beings whose natural environment is not land or water, but the sky itself, how much do humans really understand?
Mystery does not always appear in distant places. Sometimes it glides past your own window. A viral video shows a pale, slender creature flying past the window of a residential home. The distance is so close that viewers can clearly see its large wings with dark patterns spread wide. What caught my attention was the creature's reaction. It did not fly mindlessly. For a brief moment, it seemed to turn its head, as if aware of the camera. Then it shot away and vanished instantly. That moment sparked countless questions. If it was just a bird, that reaction felt too aware. If it was CGI, it was far too refined for a short, low-context clip. Debates erupted. Were beings once called fairies or mythical entities really just imagination?
I cannot say for sure. But when an image is close enough, clear enough, and fast enough to escape verification, it leaves a deeply uncomfortable feeling. Not fear, but the sense that maybe we are not always the only ones watching this world. Subscribe to the channel before we move on to cases from around the world.
Not every mystery comes from new footage. Sometimes forgotten videos are the ones that chill people the most when rediscovered. One such clip resurfaced on social media and instantly reignited a mystery that had lingered for years. The video was recorded by a driver on the road. At first, everything looked normal until the camera caught a winged creature perched silently on a tree branch. It did not move, standing unnaturally still, as if observing the person filming. When the camera moved closer, the creature reacted. It spread its massive wings and launched into the sky within seconds, too fast for viewers to make out clear details.
What unsettled many people was not the flight, but the moment it turned its head, as if it knew it was being watched. Its thin body, wide wings, and unnatural posture led many to think of the Jersey Devil, a creature rooted in American folklore.
Some argue it was just a large bird. But if so, its initial stance and reaction felt disturbingly unnatural. And that ambiguity is why this video remains unresolved. Some videos become harder to explain the more you watch them, and this is one of them. A clip recorded in the Middle East spread rapidly due to its bizarre imagery. In the sky, a flying creature appeared that could not be matched to any modern animal. It had bat-like wings, wide and powerful, a long, solid body reminiscent of a flying dinosaur, and a long tail straight out of a fantasy tale. The camera angle was close enough to show wing movement, but not enough to identify it conclusively. I remember my first reaction. The more you look, the less it resembles cheap CGI, yet it does not match any known bird. The creature flew steadily across the sky and vanished behind mountain ranges as if it had never existed.
The debate is not just about what it was, but where it could have come from. Some believe it might be an ancient species surviving in remote regions. Others insist it is an illusion. But no explanation has fully erased the suspicion that the modern world may still hide creatures unknown to science.
Unlike cases seen from a distance, this story is disturbing because it happened up close. One afternoon on a trail near Managua, Nicaragua, a group of tourists were walking casually when they heard strange sounds coming from above, echoing through the tree canopy. At first, they assumed it was just forest birds or ordinary wildlife. But within seconds, everything changed. On the branches ahead, brown creatures with large bat-like wings began to appear one by one. Their bodies were thin and distorted, their movements slow but threatening, looking like entities that did not belong in this forest. When some of the creatures started swooping lower, the group panicked and ran in chaos. I have to be honest, the footage from that moment is hard to watch. The camera shakes violently, heavy breathing and screams overlap. But that chaos is exactly what makes the video feel more real.
Although no one was seriously injured, the experience left deep psychological scars on those who witnessed it. They believe the forest is hiding creatures humans are not ready to face. And to this day, no official explanation has convincingly closed this case.
Have you ever seen a creature that emits its own light in the dark? Not reflecting headlights, not a camera effect, but glowing from its own body. This video captures exactly that moment. In complete darkness on a tree branch, a bird-like creature stands still, illuminating the surrounding area like a living lantern. The light does not flicker or pulse. It is steady and uniform, so much so that I replayed the clip several times to make sure it was not a flashlight or a hidden device off camera. The creature remains still for a few seconds, long enough for the person filming to realize they are seeing something abnormal. Then the moment that sends chills down the spine happens. It spreads its wings, and the wings glow too. In an instant, the creature lifts off, flying straight into the sky and vanishing into the darkness as if it never existed.
Immediately, many people mention the phoenix, a legendary creature associated with light, fire, and rebirth. Of course, others suggest it could be a rare bird with bioluminescent abilities. But so far, science has not recorded any bird capable of producing such strong and stable light. So what exactly took flight from that tree branch that night?
This video raises a very simple question. If you looked up at your roof and saw two creatures standing there, what would you do? The person in this story did the only thing that came to mind. He pulled out his phone and started recording. On the rooftop, two winged creatures stood still, as if observing their surroundings. They did not look like birds, not like bats, and not like anything familiar. The most disturbing detail was that one of them stood upright on two legs, with a posture very similar to a human. When the camera started recording, both creatures seemed to realize they had been noticed. There were no screeches, no panic. They slowly spread their large wings and then took off one after the other, disappearing from view within seconds.
I noticed a small but unsettling detail. They did not rush. They flew as if leaving that way was routine. That detail alone convinced many people these were not ordinary animals.
Angels? Interdimensional beings? Or a species we have never classified? No one knows. All that is certain is that after that night, that rooftop was no longer an ordinary place. If there is one creature everyone believes belongs only in legend, it is the dragon. And then this video appeared. In 2020, a resident recorded footage of a massive creature flying above the treetops of a city. Its body was long and serpentine, moving smoothly and with control. Its red color was unmistakable. For several seconds, the creature seemed to dominate the entire sky within the frame. What makes the footage especially hard to explain is that it did not simply fly past. According to the person filming, the creature briefly perched on the wall of a house before continuing its flight and vanishing.
I think that moment is what throws every explanation into confusion. A drone does not do that. An illusion does not stay still long enough to be captured that clearly. And if it were CGI, the level of detail would be unusually convincing. This may not be proof that dragons still exist, but it raises an uncomfortable question. If a creature that large can fly over a city and only one person manages to record it, how many other things have passed above us without us ever looking up? Have you ever witnessed a similar scene? If you have, leave a comment and share your experience. And do not forget to subscribe so you can continue exploring the mysteries still hanging in the sky with Mystery Files.